Hey guys, before we hop into this video, just know guys that this is just opinion based and not, factual. If you guys disagree, feel free to comment down below y'all thoughts, and to stay more connected, please follow my social media, my Discord and Facebook, to also keep me posted on game updates and so we can discuss further on video games so that you guys' voices are heard as well, and so we can all just stay strong as a community, you know? So yes, let's hop right on into this video. Okay, so guys, for my number five spot, it might make a lot of people mad because, this is fighting games of all time. And mind you, this is just opinion based, but I do feel like it should be in the top 10. And I'm going to have to say the Dead or Alive series, created by Tomonobu Itagaki, which was, once again, my condolences for his passing in late 2025. The franchise may have went through its rough patches, but one thing people couldn't deny was how badass and colorful and vibrant, with graphics way ahead of its time, with the games getting more and more aesthetically pleasing over time. Created with it just created something very beautiful, something we haven't really seen before. And compared to Tekken and Virtua Fighter, which was their competition at the time, alongside Soul Calibur as well, Dead or Alive had a very different way of how they made their models. Going down to the female models, which is totally slept on, and people talk about fan service and about how it's such a big problem with bouncy titties and this and that. Unless you just not into that, just say. And I don't want to say it because this is YouTube, and I don't want to put people on blast like that. But if people felt that way, then that's weird. That's completely fucking weird. Just because of fan service and boobies and titties hopping around, isn't that something that guys would want to see anyway? And the fact that it's been criticized for what a bunch of other games have is just so ridiculous to me. Like Soul Calibur, Tekken, all of them have like girls with bikinis and this and that, but Dead or Alive don't get not one pass on nothing. They don't get to breathe. But since Itagaki passed away and all this stuff started happening with the community and now everybody's starting to reach out, that should have been happening, guys. And that's just my personal preference, and that's why I put it on the top number 5, because people always shit on this game, but they go back to this game now doing content on the game when they've never done it. It's a lot of stuff I peep over time, especially in the gaming industry, where, there's underdog series like this, like, just in case if they do come out with a Dead or Alive 7, like I said in previous videos as well, going down to that, there cannot be no mess ups, nobody, the game has to be complete. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to hear any excuses on Dead or Alive's behalf and, Koei Tecmo and Team Ninja, because at the end of the day, all it takes is you guys putting back stages, adding back what the fans love, and the game will be back to normal, honestly. It only takes, and it may take a long time, but that's the point, and that's why we love when you guys take out time, and, we can't force these people to do anything, guys. Let's just start there. But one thing we can do as a community, once again, is, spread the word and let people know exactly what we want. This is going to be the final times, I'd say, for all these 3D fighting game franchises to get it together. Them sales got to be better, and, and that's just for fighting games as a whole. Yeah, there's a lot of fighting games that have went up in sales and people have bought them or whatever, but it still doesn't surpass, other titles like shooting titles and, adventure titles. So we got to get it together, guys. Straight up. Like, yeah, they're thriving in their own way, but like I said in last video, but still. And I just want to say Dead or Alive would have to be my top 5 for this pick because, and, pushing limits that other people didn't push in their games at the time, and, really taking a big step as opposed to what Tekken Tag Tournament 2 brought us. And yeah, we got Tekken X Street Fighter. Bitch! Just, titles that, I understand, guys, like, y'all love for these type of games and stuff, but Dead or Alive just has something very special, and, I hope to see this series thrive. I hope that, we soon to hear something from Team Ninja and Koei Tecmo regarding Dead or Alive 7, because this franchise was just too good to just, let it die. So, guys, make sure y'all spread the word of Dead or Alive 7, by the way, on Twitter and stuff like that. Like, spam that shit all over Discord, Facebook, anywhere that you can, because we need another installment. We can't just let them go out like this. But yeah, guys, let's hop into the next game. So for my next pick, it would have to be the Tekken series, mainly because of its impact on 3D fighting games as a whole, staying strong for 32 years, which means Tekken has been a major fighting game franchise for over 3 decades, which is fucking insane, guys. Making it one of the longest running and most successful fighting game series ever, right up there with Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. Okay, so Tekken deserves its flowers all the way just because, they stood true to their fans. Um, that's one thing I can't really take away from them. They have a very strong fan base. Their community is very amazing. It can be toxic at times if you try to comfort them, though, and I understand it because, they have, came a long way and not much has changed about the game. They've just added and improved more and more as the years have gone on. But, there are still errors in Tekken, but I would say that, you know, for them to have their crossovers and be in certain fighting games like, Super Smash Bros., which was very amazing. I didn't even know that was a thing, until now, only because I haven't really been up to date with Super Smash Brothers. But Kazuya was a playable character, if I'm not mistaken, and that was pretty amazing. Like, they got to be in different games, and then you got the RPG games, and hopefully they can do what Dead or Alive did with Virtua Fighter and add Dead or Alive characters to Tekken, which would be fucking interesting. But that's another topic for another day. Maybe I'm pushing it, guys. Maybe I'm pushing it. But Tekken is that's why Tekken is my top 4 pick. But I just have to say that because we still haven't had a Tekken X Dead or Alive game, which was in the talks. But Itagaki and the creators of Tekken couldn't get along, so it's just like so much potential in video games that could have actually happened, and it's okay though, guys. There's room for more installments in both the series individually and stuff like that. But honestly, guys, that's why I picked Tekken as a whole as my top 4 spot. So let's hop right on into the next game. I would have to make number 3 Mortal Kombat, though there was some honorable mentions due to it being under Street Fighter and Tekken as the best fighting games of all time, giving us blood and gore, amazing guest characters, and memorable characters and punchlines. Though the newer games wasn't really as good as 9 and X, it still made number 3 due to it also being another fighting game franchise that also had lasted over 3 decades as well, with a heavy cult fan base, loving the franchise for its dark, violent tone, fatalities, and shock value, characters, rivalries, and lore. Many fans will still stick with MK even when mechanics change because the identity matters more than the meta. And I have noticed over the years with Mortal Kombat that no matter how much or whatever direction they take, people still hop on it because, that's what's really familiar to people. And I've realized that with the 2D fighting games that, it has a bigger impact as well, more than the 3D fighting games, probably because also that's what people are more familiar with. That's what they've seen their whole life. You got to understand, people have been doing this and playing these games for a long time, like even alongside other 2D fighting game titles such as like Killer Instinct and Street Fighter and shit like that. But like, this is just a little different. You know what I'm saying, guys? Like, Mortal Kombat, it has all those cool 2D fighting game qualities, but what made it stand out was them pushing the gun with the like blood and stuff like that. So at least it's something that you don't really see in other fighting games as often, and they still kind of incorporate that, and they're kind of like the originators of that in a way, and made it popular. So that's why I would have to put Mortal Kombat as my top 3 spot on this list. So yeah, the consistency of Mortal Kombat is also amazing, going along with the gameplay and them adding to it, like I was saying with Tekken, they kind of like, advanced from where they were at to like now, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm just like, even with the graphics, it's amazing, they're still going along with story mode. They didn't really take much out of their game and stuff like that. They're still going strong, and I have to give them all the props for that. Especially, anytime a new Mortal Kombat comes out, at least we know people buy it and people review it, and we're gonna hear either good things or bad things. But at the end of the day, that doesn't really matter for such a very amazing franchise that has blessed our screens for years, and them giving us these amazing, Mortal Kombat games. But I would say that, the best installments were 9 and 10. And I'm going to just leave it at that. So yeah, that was my top number 3 spot for the top 5 best fighting games of all time. So let's hop right on into the next video game. Okay guys, for my number 2 spot, guys, it would have to be Street Fighter. Street Fighter literally defined the genre, especially Street Fighter 2. And Street Fighter 2 didn't just succeed, it created the modern day fighting game. Special move inputs, quarter circles, charge moves, combo systems, character archetypes such as Shoto, Grappler, and Zoner, health bars, rounds, and timers as we know them. Street Fighter, first of all, earns a top 3 spot because it's the foundation, the standard, and the competitive backbone of fighting games. No other franchise has influenced the genre as deeply or as consistently, and I wouldn't put any other fighting game at my top 2 spot on this list. There is no doubt in my mind, so the Street Fighter franchise is at my number 2 spot. And now let's hop on to our final fighting game. Okay, though this was a very hard decision, I'm going to have to put Marvel vs. Capcom 2 ranked as the best fighting game ever, hands down, with one of the hugest rosters in fighting game history, having over 56 playable characters. We had massive crossover variety, wild team combinations, 3 vs. 3 system, and tons of broken, creative, and iconic matchups. Still standing strong after 26 years, the game still gives me life. With such bright and vibrant colors and character sprites, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 deserves a top 3 spot because it represents the absolute peak of freedom, chaos, and creativity in fighting games. And no other game has fully replaced what it does or what it has done. That's why Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is my top pick for the best fighting game of all time. It was truly the impact of this game and the fact that it's going very strong still to this day, and the fact that it's still more played than a lot of these newer games that's been coming out. I'm gonna have to give Marvel vs. Capcom 2 this spot, and I don't think my opinion is ever gonna change. It has done so much for the community. I mean, like, bringing people together after so many years. I feel like this is the main, that's like the main time where you should be able to see those people in person that have been playing these games for a while. Like, you get to see a lot of the old school, tournament people and people who've competed and stuff like that, It's just very, like, rewarding and stuff like that when you actually go to these events and stuff like that. So I would have to give it, just because also it's very memorable. You cannot walk into anybody who is of millennials and they do not own this game. Most millennials own this game, and and it's just a very, very, very amazing franchise, and the strongest out of the Marvel vs. Capcom trilogy, if you ask me. So yes, I'm gonna have to rank this as my top most best fighting game of all time. And if you guys love this video, and if you guys love my content, please do not forget to like, subscribe, share. Don't forget to click that notification bell so you guys can always stay notified every time that I upload. And deuces.